Hi, it's Ty the Real Estate Guy, and I was fortunate enough to be asked by the Pore real estate team out of California to tell you about moving to Utah. Now, I want to get onto the podcast, but please, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I want to help you out. Thank you.
Good morning. It is Tuesday, and we are back one more time with leaving California, what to expect when considering Salt Lake City, Utah. And when I say one more time, this is probably the fifth time we've tried to record with Ty Wilde. Welcome, Ty.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's funny. We're just having a conversation. You're the YouTube guy, and we've been podcasting. You're the only guy we haven't been able to connect with. We've tried this at least like 5, 6, 12 times. And I think we're good. Let's kick this thing off, man. Let's tell us a little bit about you and what got you into the business.
So I've been doing real estate about 14 years now. My main focus has always been on new home construction, mostly because in Utah, we're always growing. And, of course, I work with buyers and sellers on existing homes as well. And there's, those people who don't qualify for homes traditionally. We actually specialize in seller finance. So, we're just people focused. We don't really spend money on marketing. Most of our business is word of mouth. And as you mentioned, I have a YouTube channel, and I kind of pride myself in it. It's not a sales pitch. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything on my channel. I'm just trying to educate people and help people understand the process of buying, selling, and building a home.
Yeah, that was one of the things that stood out most when I was on the search for an agent in Utah. And when I came across your stuff, man, it was entertaining, but really helpful.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Kind of one of the things that I look for when I'm trying to find an agent in a place I don't know. Because, that's the point of the podcast. We're not asking for business. We're just trying to give people insight as to the market and what they should look out for if they're considering moving there. If they want to ask questions, then hit us up. Otherwise, hopefully, we've answered all the questions that they would have that they possibly need to know, which it's hard to cover everything about what's great in a city
for sure
in an hour and the real estate market, and then try to establish some kind of personal connection as well. So we do the best we can.
Right.
But no, you guys definitely, if you guys are looking for a new home or anything, definitely check out his YouTube channel. It is pretty entertaining and really helpful as well. And he's growing it pretty quick. So congrats on that, man.
Yeah, thank you. It's exciting to see it kind of blow up a little bit,
Yeah, no, definitely. So what kind of got you into real estate?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I remember as a little kid, I was probably 10 or 12 years old, and my grandfather had taken us up into the mountains to show us a piece of land he had purchased. And I still kind of remember my brothers and sisters running off into the woods and playing. And I remember just standing there thinking to myself, man, this is crazy. Like, my grandpa owns this piece of the mountain. And I think I've always just kind of had that kind of like appreciation for real estate, like that it's cool. It's cool to own real estate and it's good, right? It's kind of like a no-brainer.
No, real estate is pretty fun. I was actually listening to a podcast of Bigger Pockets.
Oh yeah, they're great.
They had a guy talking about he was investing in just mobile homes.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, guys, it's not the sexiest thing, but it's profitable and it's fun, and I'm helping people, and that's all I care about.
You know what? You just find what you like and what works for you. We have a vacation rental on the island of Oahu, and it has been just amazing. And that's something we actually really, really love. I'd love to do more vacation rental type stuff.
Yeah, I know. I was just talking to a guy in Henderson, and they just lifted their Airbnb ban in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
So I would imagine it's going to start going kind of nuts over there in regards to Airbnb.
It'll get out of hand quick.
In Oahu.
Yeah. Oahu's actually really strict now, but that's probably a different story for a different day.
Explain the difference real quick. You were saying in resale to new homes and financing wise, what is the difference in financing? Just to clarify.
Yeah, a lot of people, they're worried like they're gonna have to go get a construction loan or something like that. And most home builders actually carry the construction loan. So with a home builder, if you're building from scratch, you're gonna have your normal earnest money like you would on any contract. And then the builder generally asks for like some sort of construction deposit. And that's normally going to be like $5,000 up to like $50,000, depending which builder you use and how much upgrades you add. But whatever that deposit is, so some people probably get into a house I'd say on the low end, new construction, $5,000. And that's all they're going to put down until the home is completed. And then once the construction's completed of that home and they go to the lender, they'll close just like they would on any other, property.
Gotcha. Okay. And then they could just go conventional FHA or whatever
Whatever
situation
works.
is.
Yep, VA, whatever.
All right, cool. Well, let's jump into kind of talking about Salt Lake. I know you guys are like a rapid growth, and there's all kinds of changes and silicon slopes, and
Yeah.
however you want to kick it off in regards to Utah, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, for the last several years, we're just growing faster than we can handle. I mean, it's literally blowing up. We were actually, I was taking my kids to different basketball games last night, and one of the schools had a brand new gym, a school that's been around since the early 1900s, has this brand new, like, amazing basketball stadium. The next school we went to they're building a brand new basketball stadium, and my wife was like, geez, it seems like all these schools are building they're building more space, and it's like, it's because Utah is growing so fast that they just have to keep expanding the schools. And I mean, that's a great thing if you're a real estate agent, right?
Absolutely.
But
so are they just adding on to the school, or are they projecting to build some new schools as well to help compensate all the people coming in?
I mean, really all of it. I mean, where I live, they built a brand new high school about 6 or 7 years ago, and they just finished building another one, a high school. So, I mean, we're building new high schools all over the place, and elementary schools is a whole different story. I mean, they're popping up like anything else. In a growing market, it's just crazy.
What does the construction look like there? Do you guys have like your central hub in Utah where it's like a lot of resale, and then all the new constructions is on the outskirts, and that's where they're building the schools as well? They're developing the homes in the community? Yeah,
pretty much. I mean, you're expanding, because of Silicon Slopes and what's happening there with the big tech boom that we're having. You have Lehigh City, which has always been kind of a farm community. It's blowing up. And so all that farmland is being sold, and they're building pretty heavily. The nice thing because usually in Salt Lake City, there's not a lot of room to build. I mean, Salt Lake City is pretty packed, and the surrounding cities as well. But the, Lehigh now is becoming kind of a major city. And so you start getting growth and expansion into Saratoga Springs, Eagle Mountain, and then, south of Provo. So most of the new stuff is going to be Utah County, it seems like.
Gotcha. What big companies are coming there in regards to making it Silicon Slopes? You have all the heavy hitters out there, Google, Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Micron kicked it off years ago. They were kind of the first one. And then Adobe came in a couple years ago. We have eBay. Yeah, Facebook is building a facility out here. We actually also have the giant NSA building out here that has like all of your information. They're probably listening to us right now, actually.
Well, I hope they are. That way, if anyone's considering moving to Salt Lake, they can reach out to you.
They're like, hey, someone just said NSA, record. But no, I mean, we've got, we heard. Yeah.
600, you need a call if you're moving.
Yeah, we've got Amazons here now, and we've got rumors of more Amazon and Google and all that stuff. And there was just an article that said that kind of what's happening in Lehigh City is kind of the same thing that happened in San Francisco when you had the big tech boom there, and you're getting a big discrepancy in kind of salaries where these young kids are moving here and taking tech jobs. The average salary for one of these techies is $103,000, where your average salary for someone who lives in Lehigh a couple years ago was probably like $50,000.
Yeah.
So like things are definitely changing here. It's a different, things are just changing, I guess is the best way to say it.
Well, so a lot of the facilities that they're building, since there are so many big names, Adobe, eBay, Amazon, how big are the facilities that they're doing? Because I know right now in Southern California, we're seeing a huge trend too. Hulu, Netflix, Disney, all the big heavy hitters that have anything to do with streaming are moving down and surrounding the Hollywood area. Are you seeing a lot of a lot of people leaving because affordability is getting too high, or what does that kind of look like?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say your average, your average kind of family, people make an average salary here in Utah, they're getting kind of pushed out to the farther areas like Eagle Mountain or, Springville and Spanish Fork, that direction. So, yeah, it's a pretty interesting. In some ways, it's kind of sad, but it is. That's what real estate is, And I guess they a lot of those people that are selling their houses and moving further from the city, they've also made a lot of equity,
Yeah, and that's you can't hate on that. I mean, a lot of
Right.
people that are retired. I mean, I've done a lot of door knocking over the years, and you go knock on the doors, and they're like, "Look, I'm leaving here in a casket, like in a box."
Right.
Otherwise, but these guys bought their houses for 30, 40, 50, $60,000.
Right.
Now if they were to sell them, $1,000,000. So
Right.
it's not like they are sad when they're cashing that check.
For sure, for sure. And I mean, what we have, and a lot of the companies are actually coming from California, is we have a lot of those large companies moving to Utah because we have the infrastructure, the fiber optic internet and all that
Yeah.
stuff. We're set up for these companies. So yeah, they're coming up building these huge facilities and moving their operation out here. I had a guy that he moved from California, and he said, listen, he's like, to me, he's like, I'd rather stay in California. I love the weather there. But he's like, I get to personally keep over $1 million more just by moving from California to Utah. So he's like, to me, I had to do it. And I think there's a lot of people and large companies, when you're talking about millions of dollars, it's just, once again, it becomes a no-brainer. And Utah's a pretty affordable place to live.
What has all the boom with all those companies done to like local businesses? Have you seen like a trend of like small businesses kind of losing to the bigger companies as they come? Because I would imagine with the bigger companies coming, you got a lot of the Costco's and the bigger name stores coming and kind of shutting down smaller shops. Do you kind of see that happening?
I actually haven't seen a lot of that. What I've seen a lot of is, oh, there's another McDonald's. Oh, there's another, Walmart. Oh, there's another Burger King. It's like new restaurants are popping up on a daily basis. I mean, it's insane.
You guys have some pretty good commercial buildings out there.
Yeah, I think things are so good here that even when the little companies that are maybe losing some business, there's just so much business and growth, and that it just seems like everybody's winning right now.
I mean, you guys are a huge college town too, right?
Oh, yeah.
You guys got a pretty popular college up there.
Yeah, so we have the University of Utah, which is huge, and their medical facility up there is insane. I mean, it's world renowned. And you have BYU over here in Utah County. They're both huge schools. And then you even have like Utah State University, and they're huge too. And I mean, nobody knows who they are, but I mean, the school, I went there, but I'm just saying, like, it's not like BYU or the University of Utah that has this big name, but there's a lot of students here. Utah has, one of the things people don't think about is Utah's organic growth. It's always the top or one of the top in the whole country. And that's just because in Utah, we have big families,
Yeah. What is the average family size out there?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it's probably shrinking, but I have 4 kids, and I feel like that's pretty normal in Utah.
Yeah.
So.
Because Utah is the Mormon state, right?
Yeah.
You guys have larger families, and it's known. I was working at a movie company when I was younger, and we did some stuff. I was living in Vegas, and we'd be up there moving people into like St. George. And your guys' houses are huge, man. Like basements, and I remember just moving boxes and boxes and boxes of food in the basement.
Yeah, it's funny you say that.
It's a small things. Like, it didn't really make sense when I was there.
Yeah.
When I'm 21 and working at a movie company, and you're just told, hey, move this stuff over there.
Yeah.
And you're just like, man, people have a lot of food.
Well, so Utahns and the Mormon, or they like to be called Latter-day Saints, or the LDS culture, is also very into like food storage and, kind of being able to take care of themselves. And so, yeah, you're probably moving there 80-year supply of food.
Yeah, and they definitely stocked up too.
Yeah.
Because we would, I mean, they got like little grocery stores in the basement. I mean, is that kind of a common thing
I don't know.
is out there?
I wouldn't say common, but I would definitely say there's a lot of people who have like food storage. Like my family, if everything's shut down, I think we could go at least a month without needing any assistance or anything from anybody. And I think I hope that's common. I mean, that's kind of, what here in Utah, we just like to be able to take care of ourselves. I mean, I have an underground greenhouse, which again is another story for another day, but I have orange trees and a grapefruit tree and a lemon and lime tree in there. And so like I want to be able and I have it's an underground greenhouse, so it's outside and it's built into
Gotcha.
it's built into the
Into the
slope of my
ground.
yard, into the ground.
That's cool. So it just uses the natural earth.
Yeah, so Utahns like to kind of they like to do gardens and all that sort of stuff so they can just take care of themselves.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you'll see. I mean,
A
a lot of people have chickens, things like that.
dude, you guys have like coyotes and they eat chickens on the face. Yeah, you might want to take care of the chickens.
Yeah, I might need a lot of the chicken coops here are fully surrounded because we have all those little guys. Matter of fact, we even had a cougar out running around here last year. So, if the cage isn't enclosed, your chickens aren't going to make it very long.
With the massive growth that you guys are seeing, how is that affecting like your traffic and your commute and your daily thing?
Dude, roads, I mean, in Utah, roads they're just always under construction. I mean, there's new roads being built and it's crazy. So I don't know. I mean, we're doing things like putting in like trains or whatever to get people places quicker and to take cars off the road, but it's pretty tough. I bet you for people that live on the outskirts, they're driving probably on average 30 minutes to and from work. I know that's normal in California if you work 5 minutes from your house, but in Utah, it's kind of, or 5 miles from your house. But in Utah, it's 30 minutes kind of sucks.
Yeah. The big companies that are going out there, I'm imagining the Facebook campus is going to be pretty large, probably 100,000 square feet or something, I'm just guessing. Are they building a lot of housing right around there and stuff because, I mean, a lot of these young guys, they just like the convenience.
Yeah.
You walk downstairs, jump in an Uber, get transferred to work, or jump on a scooter, and they're just like, boom, I'm at work. They like everything close.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the scooter only works about 6 months out of the year in Utah, so you don't get a ton of that. But
you guys need scooters with chains.
Yeah, seriously. Or you put the little sled ski in the front, so maybe that would work. I don't know. But we cannot build houses fast enough. I would say we're borderline in a housing crisis in Utah because I think there was an article by KSL, and KSL is kind of like to me, in Utah, it's the trusted news source. That's who I listen to, and I think a lot of people feel the same way. They reported that we're in a 20,000 unit shortage for rental properties and for homes. And so, that's pretty bad. Right now, our standing inventory is dwindled down to almost nothing. I mean, if you see a house and you want it, you really need to be in Utah. You need to be prepared to offer more than the asking price and immediately. I mean, you need to be pre-approved ahead of time. Just like any transaction, you should be pre-approved ahead of time. But you need to be pre-approved ahead of time. You need to offer a nice earnest money. $1,000 isn't enough anymore. That's in Utah. That should be pretty normal. Now, I mean, you should be giving $3,000 to $5,000 to show people I'm serious. I want this house, and your offer should be above the asking price. I mean, you're probably gonna get multiple offers anyways. That's what's happening right now.
There's like nothing. Their builders are so backed up. So since you're working with a lot of new home construction, what's the kind of the trend that you're seeing? I mean, are they approved for more? Could they just not build fast enough? Do they not have workers that are there helping, or what do you think is one of the issues?
Yes to all that, really. I mean, it's like, I mean, they can't develop the land quick enough. In the wintertime, we can't lay asphalt. So if you don't get asphalt down before the weather changes, that community, you're not selling houses till the spring.
That's one of the things that don't take into consideration. I mean, I live in the sunset.
Right.
I mean, it's sunny here all the time, and I forget that you guys deal with that, and construction is affected.
Right. I mean, once we get going on the house, I mean, I've seen people roofing in the snow, or framing in the snow. It's crazy. And, God bless those people sincerely. I mean, they don't stop. And it's just, we can't develop the land fast enough right now. We can't build the houses fast enough. We need people. We need, more builders to move to the area, whatever it is. I mean, we just don't have enough equipment to, build the homes even. I mean, it's crazy.
Do you see, I don't know, this is like kind of a side note, like the new home construction, do you see a lot of stuff being manufactured in like a facility and then being transported out there?
I mean,
or is it just all like on-site building?
Most of it's on-site. You get the trusses come in, things like that, but most everything is being done like at the house. So, and I do have YouTube videos that kind of, if people are out there kind of like, oh, I'd like to kind of see how that works. I have videos that show, I have a time-lapse video, or I have ones that go really in-depth.
Your videos are good. I haven't watched all of them. I watched some of them.
Well, there's 80, so you don't have to watch them all.
There's a lot of options, and he's going to keep putting them out, so make sure you check them out.
Thank you.
All the info will be below in the podcast as well. So before we get too far into the construction side, let's touch on a few more things about the city, and we'll go over there.
Yeah.
What are the 5 places you see people coming from the most? I'm assuming Northern California and Seattle. Yeah,
I mean, you want to know the 5 places most people come from? I'd say Los Angeles, San Diego, San Jose, San Francisco, go 49ers, and Sacramento.
Where else besides California, though?
Yeah.
Like, what other states?
No, I mean, for sure, really, California is probably the heaviest, especially with the tech. But we have loads of people coming from all over the place. I mean, really, Arizona. Another place would be Washington, obviously Seattle area. I mean, Nevada. Anywhere really, just the surrounding states. That's probably where we're getting the biggest influx.
So what has that done to like your restaurant and nightlife kind of vibe? I know you got some kids, and you're probably not the guy that's going out and grinding at the nightclubs until 2 a.m.
Yeah.
But like, what has that really done to like the overall, like, just like, you guys have great outdoor stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Ski slopes, you guys have some of the greatest spots.
We're not Los Angeles, and we're not Las Vegas. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's always something going on here, especially for families. There's always something going on in Utah. I mean, we have the Utah Jazz, we have the Real Salt Lake, which is pro soccer. And but as far as bars and clubbing, honestly, I really don't want to know. But from what I hear, there is enough to do. Like, there's plenty of that stuff going on. Like I said, like you said, I have 4 daughters from the ages of 12 to 6. So my nightlife is usually like reading books to the kids, saying prayers, and going to bed. And hopefully getting like a few minutes to just talk with my wife and have some of those precious moments of like, hey, we survived another day.
So since it is a big, family community, what are some of the real awesome things around there to do with the kids? Like, what are some of the top like events to go check out, or good family fun things?
Well, so my kids, they always want to go to the Ninja Playground in Lehigh. There's, that show, American Ninja Warrior. Yeah. Well, my kids are always asking if they can go there. They like to just, go through and play on that stuff. But I mean, like, there's like bounce houses and all that stuff. And rock climbing places. There is a ton, for us, we're playing basketball all the time. My kids love basketball. Utah is a big basketball state. It's a big sports state. People in Utah love sports. So I think that's probably everywhere, but Utahns definitely love their sports. And so, a lot of us are just always going to basketball practice and basketball games or soccer, club baseball, club soccer, club basketball. It's crazy, with all these, and because everybody has so many kids, not everybody, but because a lot of people have a lot of kids, a lot of your time is consumed with running this kid to that practice and then this kid to that practice and whatever else.
where are some real hot spots to like go hiking and like rock climbing? Because you guys got a lot of outdoor stuff. So like, what are a couple of popular spots to go check out if somebody's heading to Utah with a family?
Obviously, up in Park City, that's where you can get like your skiing and snowboarding and all that stuff. And there is plenty. I mean, there's multiple resorts. I mean, you could do probably a different one every day for 2 weeks, right? Also, in those areas, you have numerous beautiful hikes. I mean, big waterfalls, all that stuff. And it's all there along the Wasatch Front. So, like, I live out in the Ranches of Eagle Mountain, which is probably about 25 minutes from Salt Lake City. But I'm probably 30 minutes from a dozen great hikes, 30 minutes or less from a dozen just great, incredible hikes. Or if you like to do mountain biking or any sort of that stuff, I mean, it's Utah. If you like the outdoors, Utah is probably one of the top places for that. Sorry for the interruption. If you're finding this information helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Let's get back to the podcast.
So in Salt Lake, I mean, you guys have a lot of the larger families, but with the tech coming there, do you see a huge trend change in like the younger people coming?
Yeah.
Not really look out, like it's like the whole vibe is kind of switching a tad
It is
from where it was 15 years ago.
for sure it is. I mean, like I said, Lehigh was a farm town, 15 years ago, and it is not anymore. I mean, most farmers have sold and they are gone. I mean, they've gone either retired or just pushed their stuff out, to further regions. So it's definitely changed. I mean, I have a lot of older couples are coming in their 40s or 50s, and they sold their house and they're kind of pushing it to buy a $500,000 house. They can't believe they're paying $500,000 for a house. And then I'll get a 24-year-old guy, maybe he's married or whatever, has one kid, and he's ready to go on a $500,000 house without even thinking about it. That's definitely different. And I think a lot of the older people who've lived here for a long time, they're kind of like a little bit shocked by that. Yeah.
In the growing areas, I mean, we only have so much land. So let's kind of cover what you could get for a price point. And I know it varies.
Yeah.
Because it's a wide area, but there's just kind of cover like the main price points that people are in.
So I always hate to go off the median home price, but median home prices for Salt Lake City is probably around $390,000. And then, Utah County is probably around $350,000. But I'm selling new home construction in Lehigh. You can't get a new home for less than $450,000, right? So, and I mean, honestly, I can't even imagine finding an older, smaller home, for around the $350,000 range. So I would say if you're moving to Utah, if you're kind of coming out this direction, I mean, bare minimum, $350,000, but I don't think that's going to get you much.
Anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to be outside. You're going to be coming, to Eagle Mountain and, out past Provo and Springville and Spanish Fork and further south than that even.
Now, are there condos or townhomes that are going for that price at all? Or
so that's probably the biggest change that we're seeing is traditionally, especially like the Lehigh area, Utah County, has just been single family homes. I mean, there hasn't been a ton of apartments and condos. And in the last 10 years, you're seeing a ton of these multi-unit, condos, townhomes, whatever else. And it's kind of cool to see the different styles that are kind of coming in. One builder is actually doing a 3-story home now, which I think is crazy. But anyway, I mean, I guess that just says we're growing, and that's kind of what they have to do. Tiny home sites, 3-story houses.
Is that 3 stories tall with a basement, or are they
including a basement?
Dude, that is a tall house.
So you basically have your 4 floors. And talking about Utah, that's one of the biggest comments I get on YouTube is people are always like, oh, what, because most areas, I guess, you don't do basements, right?
No, we don't.
So in Utah, if you buy a Rambler that's 2,000 square feet, you're getting a 4,000 square foot home.
What Well, I mean, a 4-story house, man. I know you like training for like Spartan events and stuff. That'd be perfect. You just train right indoors, 4 flights of stairs, and boom.
Put a
Yeah.
rock wall on the outdoor wall.
Yeah, I mean that might be why Utah women are so tough, you know.
There you go. All this, yeah, no, for sure. Okay, I kind of lost my train of thought after you said it. Okay.
Utah women, is that what got you?
No, that's why I asked about the condos and townhomes, because I know when I've been out there, it seemed like everybody has huge houses based upon the larger families, and I didn't really see that. So it's kind of interesting that now you guys are starting to go that direction. A lot of those that they're building, what are the price points? Really nationwide is a lot of the things that they're constructing. They're doing more luxury rentals,
Right.
Or are they building them to sell?
They're building them to sell. I mean, the builders know right now they can get a premium for a condo or a townhome without doing anything fancy, you know. So they might throw granite in the house or something like that, or put some tile or laminate floors down. But it's definitely, luxury is not the word I would use.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's like just get them up.
Let's help some people get into houses and keep things moving along. But I mean, we are getting a lot of move ups from condos and townhomes into homes also, because like I said, in Utah, we have big families. Families are always growing. So the townhome and condo is only going to work for most Utah families for 5 years, 6 years maybe.
Gotcha.
And then they need a house.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. I mean, and I would imagine a lot of them that are being constructed are around the huge tech facilities.
Right. Yeah.
What are those going for roughly?
I would say you're probably, I mean, to find something less than 300, especially like in Salt Lake or in Utah County around the hot areas, would be tough. I mean, you should be able to find something around 300,000. But if you're looking for like kind of a nicer one, you could be 350 on a condo or a townhome easy.
Okay, so that's where your median comes into play. The condos, the townhomes are kind of pushing your prices, keeping them on the lower point. Meanwhile, all your new homes are going for
450,
4.5, 500,000.
Yeah.
So in a new home, what does 450 get you? Is that like bone stock? Like you go into the model home and you're just like, "Ooh, I love all these," and then you walk in and they're like, "Okay, 450 is the start price. Now let's add everything on."
If you're building, 450 would probably get you something in the 2,300 finished square feet, 3,200 total square feet. So that's probably at least in kind of the Utah County area. As you go into Salt Lake County, it's obviously going to get worse or go lower than that.
Gotcha. What are they pretty good sized lots, or are the lots kind of shrinking as they keep building?
Yeah, so Utah has always had pretty big home sites, at least most areas, and that's definitely shrinking. A lot of people don't like that, and they seem to be pretty bugged by it. But because there's not a lot of options. I mean, home sites in Utah, I would say, used to be quarter acre. It seemed like pretty normal, maybe up to a third. 0.18 seemed like kind of the small section, and now in a lot of areas, 0.18 would be one of the bigger lots.
Yeah, it is. It's always hard for people to adapt. What is the weather like out there?
I mean, in the wintertime, we'll definitely stay in the freezing range for several months. We might peak just above that in the middle of the daytime, but I mean, it's cold. It's probably, to be honest, I wouldn't choose to live here. But I'm a weather person. I do choose to live here because Utah has fantastic people. I mean, to me, honestly, what separates Utah from a lot of the places I've visited and lived, and I've lived in 6 different states, is in Utah, people really care about each other. I mean, they really take care of one another. One of the most amazing things I see on a consistent basis is someone's mother gets cancer or someone's hospitalized, and you will see a neighborhood take care of that family. It's really special. And I love the people of Utah, and I love serving the people of Utah. But being raised in Arizona and then being moved in high school to Billings, Montana, I have learned to hate cold weather. I hate it. I mean, honestly, I hate cold weather. So, I wish I could have California's weather and Utah's environment. people
Yeah.
and everything else, but you can't always have your cake and eat it too. You know what I'm saying?
This is true.
This is true, but hey, dude, you guys got a great spot for outdoor winter activities, so that's always good too. People go from all over the place to visit.
Right. No, Utah's a great place. I like it here.
It's funny though, because you say that, and it's like we live in Huntington, and it's like consistently like 65 to 70, and it is what it is. Like
Right.
people will say, yeah, whatever, shut up. But dude, when it's Christmas time and it's 65 or 70 degrees outside, it doesn't really feel like Christmas.
Oh yeah, that's yeah.
Like you see people on Instagram like, oh, look at this, white Christmas and this and that. It's cold, and like the fireplace it's like a blessing and a curse as well.
It is.
So what does it look like property taxes? So like on a resale home to a new home, do you see like an upswing in property tax?
It's just location, really. As you get into Salt Lake City, it's going to be more than it is in Utah County. And, we're probably, I'd say on a normal house here, I'd expect to be about $2,000, maybe $2,500 a year.
Well, that's not too bad at all.
Yeah, it's not bad.
In regards to like the luxury side of things, you guys probably have like a pretty high extreme luxury market as well.
Yeah, your high-end luxury stuff is going to be in parts of Salt Lake City and up in Park City and places like that. There's not a lot of luxury type stuff in Utah County and Lehigh. That will probably change with the new demographic that's coming in, but I don't see a ton of luxury stuff. You got Alpine and Highland kind of up in the corner there in Utah County, where you got some, definitely multi-million-dollar homes and stuff like that. And that's not too far from Lehigh. You're talking a 10 to 12, maybe 15-minute drive from kind of Lehigh, tech center in Lehigh out to Alpine and Highland. And I assume that's probably where a lot of the kind of rich people are going.
So what is the next? So everybody's looking roughly like under that 5. What is the next step up? Are you looking like the 550 to 700 is the next one that people are moving up to, or?
Yeah. So your condos and townhomes, they're selling their $300,000 properties, and they're kind of moving up into these 450 to 500s. And then your 500,000 people, the $500,000 people, they're probably 700 plus. I live on a couple acres. I like to be in a little bit of a quieter area. I haven't really cared ever much about living in the rich area of cities. I actually probably would prefer not to be in those areas.
Yeah.
And I have a little quiet neighborhood. Most of us have kind of a couple of acres, or at least a half acre on the small side. And we're really, really a tight group of people. And that's kind of what I like. I like to be in the quieter areas. What was your question though? Sorry, I talked too much.
So is that like what that next step up is where you're at, like that 700 range?
Yeah. So like, for instance, my house 7 years ago, when we started building it, it cost us $435,000. And, it's a 6,000 square foot home total. And now a house like this in this area even would probably be like 800,000. That might be conservative. Most people aren't buying a house of my size in my area.
Gotcha. Yeah. That's 6,000 square foot is a lot of home.
It's got a big basement, but we're about 4,000 finished square feet. But it's basements are cool, because this is one thing for people that are moving to Utah. This is a good thing for me to probably talk about. Basements are super cool because you can buy a house with an unfinished basement. That's normally how they come. And as your family grows, you can finish 2 bedrooms down there. I actually built a fitness room down in my basement. And what's cool about that is 3 times I bought fitness passes and I never went. And it was really frustrating. Then I built a really nice fitness center down in my basement. And sometimes I'm like, man, I only have 45 minutes. And I'm like, well, let's go crank some weights out for 25 minutes, shower, and get out the door. And that's my lifestyle. I get up at 5 a.m. pretty much every day. And I use that weight room at least every other day. So, there's cool things about having a basement,
Yeah, no, for sure. Dude, it's great square footage.
Yeah.
So how are people buying homes with the way that things are moving so quick? do you see a lot of people just going out there and saying buying cash, or what is the typical trend kind of looking like?
Pretty much everybody's going conventional. At least that's a big trend. I mean, you still have a lot of the VA loans out there. Utah has a big military as well, and God bless our soldiers, and I'm so grateful for the sacrifices they make for us. But that's kind of what we're seeing here. And I actually am working with a company called Forge Forward. They're just kind of a company that's just coming out. I won't talk too much about them, but my goal in the future is to work with Forge Forward, and we want to build like just small homes that are close together to help these military people that they don't make that much money, and life's not fair, right? Teachers don't make enough money either.
Yeah.
But and the cool thing is about this is that they can be around people, they can support each other and be around people who are like them. So my goal, hopefully someday, is that I can purchase a nice piece of land and with Forge Forward work together and build. And when I say small homes, I'm not talking like one of those silly tiny home things that you're seeing, but we're talking like, we don't need granite countertops, hardwood floors, all that fancy stuff. We need a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house for these families. And that's something I would really like to do in the future. Like that was something that would fulfill me.
Gotcha. That's pretty cool, man. What is the time frame on trying to do something like that?
Honestly, I really hope within 5 years. And I know I'm not bringing up YouTube for this reason or for any sort of self-promoting. But my YouTube channel is growing at such a rate that I'm very hopeful that in 5 years, it will be bringing enough money for me to really make an impact on not only my own life, but other people's lives too. So I kind of a 5-year window. I'm 45. So by the age of 50, I'd like to be out there kind of spending more time helping other people than myself.
No, that's cool. And dude, you can promote it all you want, because one of the great things is that you don't really promote it.
Right.
Like, you're not out there, doing all this crazy stuff and promoting and paying for this and paying for that. So you've had a lot of natural, organic growth.
Yeah.
Enjoying what you're putting out and sharing, which is priceless.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. We've not paid for a subscriber. It's all been organic. So yes.
And that's so you can promote it all you want, because I love what you're doing. That's what I said when I told you when I first contacted you. I'm like, dude, whatever it takes to make this happen, because that's the path that we're doing on this. I mean, we're not paying for anything. I don't want to pay for anything. People are like, how many listeners? I'm like, I don't care. Like,
right.
I want to put it out there, and hopefully it helps people, which we've actually seen and heard some pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
So people are listening to this crazy idea of ours.
Yeah. Well, if you put out good information, people will come.
Is there anything else that you kind of want to cover about? I mean, you guys have a huge tech industry coming in there. You guys are great outdoors. You guys' home inventory sucks.
Yeah.
Frankly, like a lot of places. I mean, it really is. I'm kind of curious to see the stock market kind of do what it did last week.
Yeah.
Create some, whatever fear or whatever you want to say in people. I'm interested to see what happens to the housing market, because I mean, you guys are going to get a lot of those millennial buyers that everybody said wouldn't move out of mom and dad's house.
Yeah.
And they're all coming to the market, but we just have no homes.
Right.
I've been talking to a few people that bought houses, and they're like, man, I'm paying so much. I just, I don't know. I'm like, dude, just stick it out.
Yeah.
I could see rapid growth. It's like there's nothing under 500,000.
Yeah.
In Orange County.
Yeah. Last time I was in San Diego, I know most people were staying in tents.
Yeah. Is there anything else that's important that you kind of want to cover about the Utah market, whether it be businesses that are coming or housing?
It's growing really fast. And I mean, you mentioned mortgage rate or the stock market, right? And kind of what mortgage rates have done. I don't know if people know this. If you're listening, this is good information. Mortgage rates are about as low as they can go right now. And even though most places around the country have experienced price increases on the homes, because mortgage rates are so low right now, it's actually cheaper monthly wise on your monthly payment. It's cheaper to buy a house today than it was a year ago. And so Don't look and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe house has gone up $20,000. Well, guess what? Your house payment's still gonna be $100 less than if you purchased a house a year before. So depending on the house, obviously. But so I would encourage people who, it's the time. Right now is the time, because home prices should continue to rise. We're having a lot of good growth right now. And when you have a mortgage rate at 3%, you can lock in a mortgage rate at 3%. You won, you know?
Yeah.
And
it is crazy. And I know I went to an economic summit last week, and they're actually predicting rates are going to drop even a little bit lower. And this guy is like a 2-time crystal ball
right.
winner. So it's kind of interesting. And I mean, dude, it's everywhere. There's only a few cities that we have done a podcast with, and you're 55, that have said they're not experiencing an issue with inventory. One last question about everything before we wrap it up.
Okay.
What are investors looking for out there? Like, do you guys see a lot of Airbnbs?
It's definitely happening. But I think most investors I meet and see, they are kind of looking for buy and hold. So, if you're thinking about investing in Utah and you don't want to live here, a lot of homes out here that are kind of in that, $350 price range, that especially with rates where they're at right now, you can buy one of these houses out here and usually make more off rent than what your mortgage payment's going to be. So I think single family homes is kind of where you see most people going, just because you can win on equity and you can win on payment right now. But you definitely see it on the townhomes and condos as well.
Are rents pretty high out there?
Oh yeah, and I mean, it's just like home prices, rent just keeps going up and up. I mean, I think we're increasing at about 5% per year right now.
So the people that are going out there and buying, are they getting like a 3% return, 4% return, or are they just happy with like 2, or what? Kind of look at that more.
I'm not sure. I mean, percentage-wise, I'm not sure. I would say most people are making at least $300 above their mortgage payment.
So people are happy just making $200-300.
Yeah.
If they can make $200 over their mortgage, they're good.
Yeah.
They're paying your principal down. You're making a little money on top. So, no, I think it's great. Well, Ty, I know we're creeping up on an hour. I'm glad we were able to actually pull this off and not get cut off, not have a drop, not have background noise.
Yeah.
The guy that's looking at all the YouTube videos, that I totally respect what you're doing. We're able to connect through technology and make this happen finally.
It's a miracle.
Oh. So in closing, man, if somebody's looking to move to Utah, and I know you kind of gave somewhat of a pitch, I mean, what would you want to tell people to prepare for?
Just be prepared to come in and offer above asking price. With mortgage rates where they're at, to offer $5,000 more on the house isn't going to affect your payment that much, but it will get you the house, especially if you find a house that you love. Don't fool around. Don't try to, get it cheap or anything. It's not going to happen. And then I hear a lot of people who are worried about the Mormons or the LDS culture or whatever. The state's less than 50% LDS at this point. And there is a very, very good mix of people here. Utah actually accepts a lot of refugees. So the diversity here in Utah has changed quite a bit. But honestly, people here, they really are just friendly. I wouldn't want to raise my family anywhere else besides maybe Hawaii, but that has nothing to do with anything else besides it's Hawaii, right? But I'd say just do your homework and come here ready to rock and roll. Like, be completely ready to go, and you'll love it here. You will.
I appreciate you jumping on. So with that, I am Brian Pore.
And I am Patty Pore.
And we're the Pore Realtors out in Southern California. So whether you're coming or going, please let us know if you have any questions about the market. And if you're considering moving to Salt Lake, reach out to Ty. He is awesome. The guy is full of value. He is providing value for free, like constantly on his channels. All of his info will be below: his YouTube channel, his LinkedIn, his Instagram, whatever he wants. However he wants you guys to find him, all of his info will be below. He's an entertaining guy, full of energy. So I definitely recommend, even if you're not considering moving out there, just hit him up, follow him, and show him some support. So Ty, appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's nice chatting with you guys. We'll see you around.
Have a good one.
Thanks for watching. Please hit the subscribe button below. If you know somebody moving to Utah, please share this video with them. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Ty the Real Estate Guy. If you found this information helpful, please give my video a thumbs up. And other than that, we'll see you next time. Thank you.